Here's Brody Brazil.
As part of my coverage of the entire Rays situation, including the now approved repairs on Tropicana Field, $22.5 million to put a brand new roof on this aging facility, I've been paying a lot of attention to local Tampa broadcast media, what they're saying, how they're reacting, how they view the public opinion on this, what the Rays are saying, what Major League Baseball is saying, what taxpayers are saying. There's definitely a lot of different voices here, and I'm trying to compile it all. I've now found a piece, an opinion piece, by columnist John Romano of the Tampa Bay Times. The headline says this: 1 year, $56 million to restore Tropicana Field. Best of luck with that. There's obviously some pessimism here, some reality to this. I found John's column quite insightful. Again, this is not a news article. This is a column mostly based on perspective and opinion, but I appreciate where John is coming from in all of this. He begins like this, and I will not read you the entire piece. I will link to it down below. You can check it out for yourself. But here are some of the highlights and biggest takeaways. So why wasn't the decision greeted with champagne corks and proclamations? The decision, by the way, a 7-1 vote to approve $22.5 million to put a brand new roof on the aging Tropicana Field. Maybe because the idea of spending at least $56 million, including the $22.5 million, approved for the roof on Thursday to fix the stadium on death's door seems wasteful. And again, normally this would come with, all right, we're getting it fixed, our community is moving forward, we're keeping our baseball team, there's no more questions about it. It almost seems like, well, St. Petersburg is just doing this because they have to, and there really is no confidence that a baseball team would stay there, even 3 years, let alone 6 years, or even stay in the market and get a brand new ballpark after that. There is so much uncertainty surrounding this entire situation. And yeah, the number one complaint by everybody down there is that it seems wasteful. Or maybe because the city's hope of being reimbursed by FEMA seems overly optimistic given the current mindset in Washington, D.C. That's right, of the $56 million at least, St. Petersburg is moving forward hoping that FEMA and insurance are going to pay for some of this. Hope, not assurance, hope that FEMA is going to chip in. And is FEMA really designed for this, fixing up sports venues and stadiums? Doesn't that seem counterintuitive? But I digress. Or maybe because you anticipate this saga will end up in the courts because the tight schedule for repairs will not be met, or there will be disputes over what constitutes a major league ready facility. Okay, two things to take away from that. Number one, yeah, we are under a tight deadline. They said if the process didn't start moving forward like instantly by the end of March, but it did, that there could be delays, that this could take more than a year, and it wouldn't even be ready for opening day 2026. So could the Rays pursue legal action if there are just inherent delays in the project and process? And what about fixing it up? I mean, you're never going to get it identical to how it was. It either has to be better, or maybe they would try and cut some corners. And will the Rays pursue legal action for that? Remember, it's not exactly the friendliest relationship right now between the city of St. Pete and the baseball team, the Tampa Bay Rays. So could there be some back and forth on all of that? Here's a quote from Councilmember Brandy Gabbard, who said, quote, "We read all of the rhetoric. We hear from the public that we should not be moving forward. We should not be repairing the Trop because the redevelopment deal fell apart, right?" Yeah, the one that the Rays came up with, the brand new stadium that they pitched, that they were the last ones to back out of. And to me, Brandy says, two very different things. Yes, they are with the same entities. Yes, it is the same site, but this is our contractual obligation that, frankly, we all inherited. And it is true, the city of St. Pete legally is on the hook with their lease to provide 3 more seasons of a Major League Baseball facility for the Rays. It's too bad that a hurricane ever came through and damaged anything. It would have been easier, I suppose, if this were 10 years ago. You knew this facility still had some life to it, but the fact that it was only expected to last 3 more years and still might maybe get there or not makes all of this even harder to really commit to with maybe $60 million. The city, understandably, is not happy about spending tens of millions for a Band-Aid on a relationship that now appears doomed. You notice that's not a Band-Aid on the stadium. It's a Band-Aid on the relationship that John is saying now appears doomed, the relationship between the city and the baseball team. The Rays are not happy about being painted as the bad guys. Well, they do need a home, and now they're making the public pay for the home, right? And this is a baseball team valued at somewhere north of $1 billion and $56 million, which should be a third of a normal season's payroll for most baseball teams. Like the median payroll in Major League Baseball for your players, about $150 million a year. It's not even the top. Teams like the Mets, Padres, they've been paying $300 million, and you can't even shell out $50. And again, I understand it's not on the baseball team. That's not how the contract works. But are they offering anything here, or are they forcing themselves back into the Trop because they couldn't get other things done? Well, you pay for it because this is the freeway, not like the road, like the freeway of having a stadium. The Rays are not happy about being painted as the bad guys. Well, yeah, but they're also not helping. The fans are not happy because at this moment, there is no end in sight. And that's what I'm telling you was the biggest deal. When the stadium deal fell apart, when the team backed out of their own deal, you knew that the instability, the volatility of all this just shot through the roof. Because now Tropicana Field getting fixed or not is a big question. Who pays for it? Or the timeline of this. Now there's so many more elements and variables at play. Things could have got a lot more simple and understood. Instead, they got a lot more messy. And meanwhile, the Trop will likely never be the same. The roof is the most noticeable repair, but the building has other issues. Drywall and major panels below the roof have to be replaced. Electronics in the stadium's sound system are in peril. The field has been torn out and will need to be redone. Some of the movable bleachers in the outfield were damaged. Garbage cans and buckets are spaced out in corridors to collect dripping rain. And we haven't even got to the summertime and rain season and another hurricane season, and the new roof isn't supposed to be complete until November or December, so it's going to be wide open. Imagine all the water that is for sure going to get back in that building and have to be sucked and drained out again. And how much more damage you're opening yourself up to. There's no way around this. I suppose the only way around this would have been if instantly back in mid-November they said, all right, let's start fixing this right here, right now. But they didn't. Here we are approaching the summer, and it's still only a plan in the works. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm just saying this is how we are. And this is how it's going to be. The actual replacement of the roof will not take place until later this summer, which means it will be happening during hurricane season and daily thunderstorms that could flood a stadium not built to handle water. Sorry, I just said that, but that's the big takeaway right there. City officials say there are currently no mold issues, but it's hard to imagine that won't become a problem at some point. And to that point, like $56 million is where we say at least. Right? So the city approving 22.5, okay, that's just to get a roof on. And I do like the fact that they're doing this in phases, so they didn't just commit $70 million all at once. At least start with the roof. Fix that problem as soon as you can. And if the Rays back out of this, or if there is legal challenges both ways, then at least you only paid 22 to put the roof back on to kind of slow the clock and stop the clock so that you can fix ultimately in time whatever needs to be fixed inside this stadium. The Rays were skeptical in November that the building could be fixed for $56 million or that it could be done in time for opening day 2026. They didn't even know several months ago if this was even possible. They only got on board with the repairs and going back to Tropicana Field when Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred stepped in to say he was not in favor of the Rays playing in temporary housing for multiple seasons. And probably because the Yankees also said, hey, Steinbrenner Field, we know you're paying the $15 million a year rent. That's great, but you're not getting a second season there. This is a one-off. We'll help you out of this jam, but that's about it. After 25, you got to go back to the Trop or figure something else out. So that just goes to show you the Rays weren't even sure that this was possible. And now they're trying to say, well, you make it possible. Otherwise, we'll have the leverage. For now, the Rays are staying mostly mum, but you can bet they'll speak up if it begins to look like the repairs will not be done by this time next year, or if the city tries saving money by not bringing the Trop up to major league standards in various ways. That just seems so ominous, like there are so many different ways and so many turns where this could go bad and wrong. Maybe the building is no longer on life support, but repairing the roof is hardly the final answer, John says in his column. If this was a medical decision, the Trop would be removed from the transplant list because its lifespan looks so bleak. There you go. Somebody who's in and around Tampa Bay, St. Pete, and the Rays and Tropicana Field, and John Romano's been doing this for a while. Yeah, 1 year, $56 million. Best of luck with that. Essentially, he's saying that everything needs to go right for this to actually come through, and there are so many things that could potentially go wrong. Hey, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, quick thumbs up on this video greatly helps me and this video and this channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.